people out there have probably heard about retail arbitrage, but it is something that a few years ago I actually put into practice and built a business around this idea of retail arbitrage, and it actually turned out pretty well. So I want to give you my experience on it and kind of get you familiar with the concept, see if you can apply it either in your own business or in your own life. This idea of retail arbitrage really is the idea of selling something for more than you bought it for. The difference between what it costs you for something and what the market is willing to pay for something. If there's a gap there, then you can potentially make money. In a way, it's a bit ridiculous. I mean, what business is not doing that? That's like a core concept of, any business. If you were selling things for less than it cost you to make, then you wouldn't be in business. But where it could be applicable, and what I want to talk about is more on the micro level, right? On the grassroots level. I first came across this idea in a lot of detail with Gary Vee's videos. So if you're not familiar with Gary Vee, I'll put a link to some of his videos down in the description. A recent video that he did where he goes to several garage sales, just cherry picks certain items that he thinks are worth more than what they're selling it for. I think he spends like $150 or something like that and ends up selling everything for like $1,500 just through eBay and Amazon and Craigslist and stuff. It took him 3 hours on a Saturday morning to go and find these items. It took him obviously some time to sell them. But to go from $100, $150 to $1,500 in a weekend is pretty good. You really can turn it into a business. Next, I want to go into my experience with this. So probably about 5 years ago here in Sydney, Australia, I saw a huge opportunity in the marketplace when it came to used furniture. I'm sure that this is the case in lots of other big cities around the world, but in Sydney in particular, there is a lot of used furniture that is still in very good condition, sometimes excellent condition, that people just throw out or discard. And I remember driving around my neighborhood, a whole bunch of really good furniture just on the side of the road, just knowing that people would take it. And in Sydney, you've got to be really careful because if you leave furniture on the side of the road, it will get picked up very quickly. It's a bit of an underground kind of scene here, but it happens a lot. And I just saw that if I could create a marketplace and an opportunity for the buyers to be able to buy decent furniture at a good price, and I could take the furniture from people who didn't need it, for the most part, either just didn't care what it was worth or it wasn't worth their time and effort to go and, sell this stuff. If I could join those two people together, those two parties together, I could make a bit of money. So I found some warehouse space near where I lived, and I actually, what I did? So this worked out amazingly. If this is something that strikes you, you should definitely try it. So what I did was, firstly, I noticed real estate agents in my area were constantly having this problem of deceased estates, for example, where, a poor older person had died, and they, the estate of people that were managing their affairs and that property didn't care about the furniture. They just wanted the house emptied so that they could sell it. They could have people come in and inspect it and it would be clean and empty. So real estate agents, it would actually fall on them to get rid of this furniture. And so I remember calling something like 120 agents in a day, just calling them and letting them know that I can pick up any decent furniture they had. It wouldn't cost them anything. And, I could get all that furniture out for them. It really solved the problem for them. So that was the first thing that I did. The second thing I did was I teamed up with removalists. So I called a whole bunch of removalists, again, probably like 50, 80 removalists. I just called them all one after the other. And I said to them, I might have some jobs from you on a regular basis. Can we do a deal? A lot of them were really happy to do a deal, for me to just give them regular work, once a week or twice a week to go and pick up this furniture for me and drop it off at the warehouse I had. The thing that I didn't realize was that removalists started to call me because, removalists, when they're moving people's houses, constantly get offers from people to take their furniture. Imagine if you're moving from one place to another and you've got 3 or 4 items of furniture that are really big and bulky and you don't need them anymore, and you could be bothered to sell them or mess around with that. While the removalists are moving it, a lot of people will just ask them, hey, do you want this? I'll give it to you for free if you just take it away, or I'll give it to you for $10. Just get rid of it. I don't want it in my new house. So I had an inundation of furniture I mean, there was so much really good furniture. Part of my job in the business was to take photos of the different items of furniture and to take videos and document the whole thing. All kinds of furniture, from like massive desks, like credenzas, like really expensive ones, to just casual couches and all kinds of stuff. Some of them needed a little bit of repair and maintenance. Some of them were just perfect as is. And that started to actually do pretty well. We had people coming in once or twice a week in the beginning to come and look, and they would purchase, and all that kind of stuff. And it started to build up, and that's a perfect example of retail arbitrage. Taking something from one state and one price or cost and selling it at another, and actually solving problems for both parties. It worked amazing. It really opened my eyes to this idea that there is so many opportunities out there in the marketplace. Once I finally took action, all these other things came up. Once I spoke to the agents, some ideas came up there. When I started speaking to the removalists, all these other ideas came up that I had no idea about. So it was a real lesson in taking action and actually doing stuff, and then tweaking my approach, and then doing more stuff, and tweaking my approach, and it really started to take off. So I really encourage you to take this on. I mean, it's great for the environment, and it can really make you some money. You can take my example as one way to implement it, but it can be as simple as what Gary Vee's doing. And it doesn't even have to be garage sales or yard sales where you get this stuff. I've heard of so many people going to department stores. A lot of department stores will have to, discount things to get rid of it, things that are end of line kind of stock, or stock that's just sitting there that they just need moved. There's real opportunities in that space as well. I started to do research into, what things were selling on Facebook and Gumtree and all that kind of stuff, and what price points they were at. And that helped me to determine how much I should pay, if I had to pay for the furniture, how much it would be worth. When I first started the furniture business, I didn't have much experience at all in business. And this really taught me so much stuff about the basics of how to run a business, So I was forced to keep track of how much things cost, what I was selling it for, all the different expenses I had. I had to put it in a spreadsheet, and I was actually forced to think about it and actually plan around the figures. And if you've never done that before, there's a real journey to be had in tracking that stuff and making sure that it all makes sense and that you're still making profit. All the kind of business basics you will get from a little part-time business like this. Great way to get your feet wet. It's also a great way to learn how to sell, how to communicate with other business people, pitch ideas. All these people I had to speak to, on a small scale. There wasn't anything really risky about it. I wasn't putting a lot of money down. I wasn't asking people to do big things that were risky for them. But it still gave me the chance to actually talk to people in a business sense and make deals. So it's a great starting little business, and you can easily pause it for one weekend, and then start it up again. So yeah, it's a great little business for people just starting out. And if you really make it work, you can actually really scale this thing and turn it into, an Amazon business, or an eBay business, where you're literally selling stuff online. It's kind of a stepping stone to that. FBA sellers on Amazon and businesses of that nature is something that I've also dabbled in, that I want to do a video on at some point, which is a whole other topic. But this is like a stepping stone to that. You can really scale this thing into a multi-million-dollar business, as so many people have on places like Amazon and eBay. So just something to think about. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.